I am going to borrow my notes if you don't mind. First of all, John, I got to say, it really is great to be an adult, isn't it?
I wouldn't know.
But I got to say, wouldn't this be awesome as like an adult summer camp? If we could have like a week-long ATF event, right? Yeah, I definitely think so. So, listen, I have to say thank you to John, and thank you to Dave, and thank you to everybody at the Independence Institute for inviting me out here today. This was a heck of a lot of fun. I clearly need to hit the range more often. I spend much more time in the studio than I do on the range, and that was very, very obvious today. But it's also a real privilege for me to be out here today, because we've been covering on NRA News what's been going on right here in Colorado. And so to be able to talk to Laura Carno in person instead of on the phone, and to talk to Dave in person, and to see these sheriffs and to shake their hand and say thank you for doing what you're doing. If we can just take a second, can you all just give yourselves a round of applause? Because I know you're not getting thanked enough. And thank you for what each and every one of you has done, is doing, will continue to do here in Colorado. This state is a flashpoint. This state, at the beginning of the year, was on a list. It was, where are we going to go past gun control? And there were a lot of obvious places. Connecticut, New Jersey, although we've seen Governor Christie actually veto some bills. California, we've got some awful bills coming. But all of the New York State and the SAFE Act, but all of these were sort of expected places. Maryland, nobody really sees Maryland as a pro-gun state anymore. Colorado was supposed to be the surprise. And all these politicians who embrace these gun control proposals were told, not by people in Colorado, but by people in Washington, D.C., you guys are going to be heroes. They're going to have parades for you guys. It's going to be awesome. And that didn't really happen, did it? Right? Yeah, more of a recall than a parade. Dave and John and the sheriffs have done, I think, a very good job of going over the recent history. But I do want to just offer a couple of highlights, if I can, of some of the things that we covered during this gun control debate in Colorado. We had Joe Biden calling lawmakers on the legislative floor. We also had politicians telling other elected officials, take Joe Biden's call, but don't take the call from your constituent. What the hell? How do you run for re-election? I know I didn't take your call, but Joe was really important. We had elected officials offering incredible advice on how to avoid sexual assault. Right? Whistles, that's right. We had an incredible display of empathy on the part of State Senator Edie Hudak when she was talking to Amanda Collins. Do you know Amanda's story? Who knows Amanda's story here? Okay. Amanda Collins was a college student at the University of Nevada. She was a concealed carry holder. She was 22. The college denied her and every other concealed carry holder their right to carry. And one night, coming out of class, Amanda Collins was walking to her car. She was walking with a group of people. She was doing everything that they told her to do. She was 40 feet from the campus police department. She could see the campus police cars as a stranger grabbed her and pulled her to the ground and held a gun to her head and sexually assaulted her. After that happened, Amanda Collins was told she could carry her concealed firearm on campus as long as she didn't tell anybody. Because the second that other women could hear about this and think, whoa, I want to be able to take care of myself. This guy's still out here. Amanda would lose her right to carry. Amanda is an incredibly brave woman. I've had the honor to meet her and interview her on a couple of occasions. To hear a politician say, you know, Amanda, thanks for coming out and testifying, but I got to tell you, statistics say that gun wouldn't really have helped you at all, but here's a pat on the head and go on your merry way. Thanks very much. We'll see you back in Nevada. This type of disrespect, this type of I don't even know the word for it. It is arrogance. No, it is arrogance, but it's not directed just against Amanda Collins. It's directed against every one of you. Because you're gun owners. And you understand that you want your firearm for your rights, whether it's your right of self-defense, whether it's your right to go out and enjoy a great day at the range, whether it's your right to hunt. You're exercising your right to keep and bear arms. There are legitimate reasons for these exercises of these rights. But the opponents don't see it. You know, I gotta say too, I wonder if somewhere in the state of Colorado there's a gathering of violent criminals who are wondering, how do we comply with these new laws? What are we going to do? This could dramatically impact us. I can't have 15-round magazines anymore. I don't know what I'm going to do. The criminals don't care. They've already shrugged off our laws. They've rejected society. They operate outside of the bounds of society. We're the law-abiding. And yet we're the ones that they're targeting. There are 5 million NRA members in this country. And think of all of the ink that has been spilled over the last few months about the NRA and its members. There are 1.4 million gang members in this country. And about half that population, about 700,000 individual Americans, are responsible for a preponderance of violent crime in this country. Why are we talking about them? Why are the gun control advocates talking about them? I think it's because it doesn't really suit their purpose. You know, back in December, there were these 3 Democratic consulting firms that came out with a message guide for anti-gun activists. And it came out on the internet a few weeks ago. It got released. It's called Preventing Gun Violence Through Effective Messaging, by the way. As opposed to preventing gun violence with, you know, a good guy with a gun. Yeah. It's 80 pages long. I'm not going to share everything with you, but there's a section that tells the anti-gunners how to respond when there is a tragedy like the shooting in Aurora or a shooting at Sandy Hook. And I want to share these tips for you if I can. First, they say, don't hesitate to speak out. Like, right away. Express concern for the victims, they say, but, quote, use language where our message flows from the expression of concern into the larger argument. Which means when people are grieving, when families are in shock and in horror, think about how you can segue from, gosh, this is awful, to, we need more gun control laws. They say, don't assume the facts, and don't wait for them. Just find the nearest camera. Do your best Chuck Schumer impersonation. Just hop right in front. Ask hard questions. One way they say to link our arguments to an event without being trapped by shifting circumstances is to ask questions. Ones that point to approaches and policies that we favor, but that resonate with special emotional power at the time of a high-profile shooting. Again, it's not about facts. It's not about data. It's not about what has actually happened. It's about what they feel. Never apologize, they say. And they offer a specific example that I found fascinating. This was their example. I know this is a time for mourning, but they say, don't say that. Challenge the NRA's silence. So let's hop right on out. Don't wait for the facts to be known. Don't exhibit what we would consider to be, I don't know, common human decency, right? Respect for those who are grieving. No, make it a political issue as quickly as you possibly can. And of course, they say if someone is silent, then attack them for that. As it turns out, the night of Sandy Hook, I actually did a show for 3 hours. And I have to say, I'm pretty proud. I broke almost every one of these rules that the anti-gunners offer. Thank you. We didn't talk policy that night. We all knew a gun control debate was coming, but it could wait. We didn't badmouth anybody that night. I explained how I learned about Sandy Hook. I had actually just come from an elementary school where we were giving our kids a tour. We were in the process of moving. And we had gone to a McDonald's for lunch, and I looked up at the TV and I saw what was going on, and my kids are sitting right underneath. I talked a little bit about what I felt, and then we just opened up the show to messages of support and sympathy from all around the country. And I wouldn't change a thing that we did that night. You don't have to be quiet right away. But you can show respect for your fellow Americans, for those who are grieving. You can show that common courtesy. You can have that human decency. At least I think that they can. I thought that they could. Maybe. Because we sure didn't see that. And we really haven't seen it. And it's been this way maybe longer than we think. I'll give you another example. There's an author named Chuck Klosterman who has a new book out now. It's essays on villains called I Wear the Black Hat. And he has an essay where he's talking about, he was on Twitter when the news of the shooting in Tucson broke. And he was getting ready to tweet about a football game. So he was trying to figure out, is that cognitive dissonance? He couldn't figure out what was going on. And he was trying to figure out, he realized, okay, there's been a shooting. And then he realized, wow, there are a lot of people in my timeline who are really excited about what this means for Sarah Palin. And they're very happy that this apparently means bad things for Sarah Palin. His quote was, why were these people pretending to be sad about something that was clearly making them euphoric? It was the map, right? Do you remember the map that Sarah Palin's PAC had? And these sick freaks thought that somehow Sarah Palin was responsible. And so again, while there were families grieving, while there were law enforcement officers trying to figure out what was going on, here were these people who were so excited that a politician that they hated was going down. And politics and policy apparently meant more than their common humanity. This isn't healthy. That's not the actions of a healthy mind. It's not healthy to think of the pain and suffering of others in terms of how this can benefit your agenda. And I don't think that we do that on our side. And by the way, if you see that, call it out, please. The debate over gun control really shouldn't be, and it's not, about who cares more. We all care. All of us as Americans care about violent crime in our communities, right? All of us would like, except for the people who are committing violent crime, the rest of us would like to see violent crime go down. Right? It's about what works. And you know what? If gun control worked, Chicago would be Mayberry right now. And Weld County and El Paso County would be Thunderdome. You guys wouldn't have Sheriff Cook, you'd have Tina Turner and Mel Gibson running around. It'd be horrible. But that's not real life. Real life is gun control not working in Chicago. And real life is gun control failing in Camden, New Jersey. And in Oakland, California. And a lot of other communities around this country. When I met my wife, she was living in Camden. She was a single mom of two. And we had a decision to make. Like, I was really young. I was just starting out. I was making like $4 something an hour. She was not making a lot of money. We were trying to figure out what were we going to do. She had 2 kids, instant family. Was I going to try to move to Philadelphia and try to break into the Philadelphia media market there? Was she going to try to move to Oklahoma? And I kind of thought, well, maybe I should move to Philly. Yeah, I know we'll have to live in Camden. No. I was told, no, this was a very easy decision. They were moving to Oklahoma. Now, why would, all things considered, we were still poor. All right, we were still dirt poor. We were still going to live in a crappy neighborhood. All things considered, why would we want to move from Camden with the really good gun laws that would keep us all safe to the wild west of Oklahoma? And it's because Oklahoma was safer than Camden, New Jersey. Because these gun control laws don't do a damn thing to stop the bad guys. But they do stop single moms in Camden from being able to afford to exercise their rights. How many law-abiding people in New York City can exercise their right to own a pistol, to simply own a pistol? Forget about right to carry. You're talking about hundreds of dollars in extra fees just to exercise a constitutional right because they say that it makes these cities safer. And then, of course, Mayor Bloomberg goes and blames New York violent crime on the state of Virginia anyway. Which is where I now live. So I can't win. I just keep moving from place to place. Actually, I can win because I keep moving to places that have lower crime rates than New York City. So it's weird how that works. So how do we push back against this? Because it's not just about gun control. I talk about Mayor Bloomberg. It's about the soda bans. It's about your salt intake. It's about making sure that you don't get diabetes. It's about the e-cigs. It's about the iPods. It's about control. Control. It may be about fun control, but I think mostly it's just about control. And every time the nanny state, now they're getting fancy with it too. They have a lot of other terms like coercive paternalism is a new one. I like that one. That's fancy. We also have nudging, which just sounds nice, right? Like they're not pushing me or poking me, they're just giving me a nice little nudge. At the end of the day, it's the same thing. They want to restrict your sphere of liberty. They want to tell you these choices that you used to be able to make are now off limits to you. And the reasoning behind all of this seems so suspect to me. When it comes to gun control, it's because, well, we really need to go after your rights and somehow that'll trickle down so that the criminals don't commit violent crimes. When it comes to Bloomberg's soda ban, apparently, and I didn't know this, but apparently the number one way to fight diabetes is to tell people that you can't have a 20-ounce soda in a restaurant or a theater, but you can get a big gulp at 7-Eleven. I didn't know. This is weird. And in New York, apparently a 20-ounce Coca-Cola is a real problem. But if you pour a couple of ounces of alcohol in it, you're good to go. It's legal. Which means this is New York legal. So, here's to you, Mike. And ultimately, we are pushing back against these attitudes. We're pushing back with the lawsuits. We're pushing back with the phone calls to our legislators, even if they don't take them. We're pushing back by electing elected officials and supporting elected officials who actually do listen to us. But we're also pushing back by being grown-ups and by being okay at it. By having hundreds of people show up at a range and shoot thousands of shotgun shells, and everybody's okay. And now we're enjoying cigars and drinks, and we'll all get home safely tonight, right? Because we can control our lives. We can manage our lives. It's not too difficult. Now look, we're not perfect, right? We may eat a little too much dessert every now and then. May not be able to kick that one bad habit like smoking cigarettes, whatever. But we're a heck of a lot more capable than our government gives us credit for, aren't we? Yeah. Well, I think we are more capable than our government, but I gotta say, if that's the attitude, we got to put our money where our mouth is. We need more capable people running for office if we're upset about this.
How
many candidates are in the office?
How many candidates are in here? Do we have any candidates for office? There we go. Excellent. Well, thank you guys. I will say I honestly debated long and hard about running for mayor of my tiny new town. Well, it's not new, but it's new to me. And I decided I would fail. I've only lived there for 7 months. I wouldn't vote for a guy who's only lived there for 7 months. 4 years from now, I'm going to run for mayor. That's my plan right now. And maybe we'll reform Mayors Against Illegal Guns from Within. How about that?
What town?
It's in Virginia.
Where? What is it?
I don't want to say right now, but thanks. Nah, that's all right. In 4 years, it's okay. Why would I give Bloomberg's consultants 4 years to prepare the battle space in a tiny little town of less than 1,000 people? No, he could buy them all off by then. No. In the meantime, we can keep doing things like this. We can take people to the range for the first time and show them, look, all of these scary, horrifying stories that you've heard about firearms, you're actually responsible enough. You can do this. I'll show you. It's safe. You can do this. And in a lot of other ways, we're pushing back as well. In New York City, we're pushing back, gosh, with food trucks around the country. We're pushing back because we want to be capable. And we know that we're capable, and we know we're competent. And they hate it when we're competent. So we're making our own bacon, and we're making our own bourbon, and we're making our own beer now, right? We're making our own bullets. How many other B words can I think of? What other B things? We're making bustiers, perhaps, some of us, and selling them on Etsy or something. I'm not, you understand, but someone probably is. We're pushing ourselves, and we're learning that we can do these things we didn't think we could do before. And a lot of us are doing this. We're bow hunting in the suburbs. I have a friend who's learning to bow hunt, and she loves it, and it's awesome. And I think that's fantastic. We have people who are keeping chickens in New York City and putting them in diapers, and I'm kind of weirded out by that, honestly. But just because I have chickens now, and I know how much they like to wander, and so like the thought of diapering them all just kind of weirds me out. But whatever, it's okay. You don't tell me what to do with my guns. I won't tell you what to do with your chickens. I'm a live and let live kind of guy on that. We're pushing not just ourselves, but we're pushing back at these nudgers, and we need to, because the role of government, as I understand it, and granted I am a bumpkin, but the role of government, as I understand it, is to help us to create a more perfect union. If you go back to the Declaration of Independence, it is to help ensure our primary rights, our rights of life and of liberty and of the pursuit of happiness. When we pursue happiness, it means we're going after it, right? It's out there, and we're going after it.
No guarantee.
And yet now, right, there's no guarantee we're going to get it, but it's our right to pursue it. And right now what we have is this army of nudgnicks like running behind us, trying to, catch up to us so they can body check us out of the way. Oh, I didn't mean to nudge you quite so hard there. And knock us off our path, knock us off our goal. Oh, you want to be a farmer? Well, we're not going to let you sell raw milk. Oh, you want to be a gun owner? Well, we're not going to let you own a magazine of over 15 rounds. We're going to make sure that you have to pay hundreds of dollars in fees. Oh, you want to be a mom or a dad? Well, we're going to start telling you that your kids really aren't yours, right? Mm-hmm. They belong to all of us. It's weird, by the way, they never come and get my kids when they're freaking out and throwing a temper tantrum. They're all mine then, but... You in this room are an inspiration to all of us, because each and every one of you are pursuing your own individual happiness. And yet together, I know this is a loaded term now, you've stood your ground. And you've turned around and you've stopped. And you've put out your hands. And you've said, no, don't come any closer. I've got this. And we all need to be able to do this. We all need to take time to do this, because this is happening all around the country. How are we doing on time? We good? All right. There's one other component I want to talk about. We talked about competence and how it drives the nanny state crazy, because they want us to be little man babies and little woman babies, incapable of helping ourselves. They want to be able to diaper us like we diaper chickens. So we have competence, and we have self-control. Again, thousands of shells shot here, lots of drinks being consumed, Everybody's behaving themselves so far. John, we're watching so far.
Now you're smoking.
Self-control is the antidote to other people wanting to control us. Because if we're exercising self-control, we don't need their help, right? A few months after I moved to the farm, my wife and I were out. Did you ever see the show American Pickers? Okay, so we were at like this total American Picker place. It was this great woman and her husband, and they have like 4 buildings that just full of stuff. Big stuff. So of course I walk away with this, right? This little book that I found for $1. It's called The American Citizen's Handbook. It's fascinating. This was published by the National Education Association in 1951. Let me tell you, things have changed quite a bit since 1951. A lot of things I think they'd have a problem with in here, including this piece that was actually written in 1916. And it's called The Code of the Good American. Now this was a book that was designed for, high school students, middle school students, but the Code of the Good American. They say citizens who are good Americans, and by the way, this entire piece will make the nanny state cringe. Citizens who are good Americans try to become strong and useful, worthy of their nation. How many people think this nation is unworthy of us these days on the other side? That our country may become ever greater and better, therefore they obey the laws of right living which the best Americans have always obeyed. And the number one law, the law of self-control. That's it. The good American controls himself. Those who best control themselves can best serve their country. I will control my tongue and will not allow it to speak mean, vulgar, or profane words.
I'm going. Have a nice day.
I will think before I speak. Unlike the anti-gun messaging guy which says, just hop right out there. I will tell the truth and nothing but the truth. I will control my temper and will not get angry when people or things displease me. I will control my thoughts and will not allow a foolish wish to spoil a wise purpose. I will control my actions. I will be careful and thrifty and insist on doing right. We used to teach this. We used to teach this in our schools. We used to teach this to our kids. And now we don't. But we have to learn self-control. That's the thing. And the more you do it, the better you get. But if our kids aren't learning it in school, we got to make sure we're teaching it. And by the way, even if you as a grown-up don't think you have a lot of self-control, you can always try. I realized about a year ago, man, I'm fat. I just had a moment where I was like, wow, I am a lot fatter than I look at myself in the mirror and think, I look pretty good. No, I look fat. So I started exercising some self-control. And I said, maybe I don't need those cookies. Maybe I shouldn't have a donut for breakfast. And it was the weirdest thing. I started losing weight. It was crazy. I didn't need to do like a paleo diet. I just needed to exercise some self-control and watch how much stuff I was shoving in my mouth. The thing is, they want to make it seem like self-control is so hard and it's so impossible, and that's why we need them, right? Because we can't do it on our own. Well, look, even if we can't do it on our own, even if it's tougher to do it on our own, doesn't mean we need Mayor Bloomberg, right? Yeah. We have each other. We have all kinds of organizations that can help us with our competence, with our self-control. We have the NRA. We have the Independence Institute. We have, and this may be the first time that this has happened on C-SPAN here, but I'm just stopping here. We have the Chive, which is a website that features a lot of beautiful women and cool things, but this community, the people who go to this website have started helping others. They have the Chive charities, and within hours, the people behind this website can say, hey, look, there's a family here, and they need your help. There's a little kid who's got a lot of medical bills. What can you do? 2 hours later, $60,000, $80,000 people have raised around the country because they're coming together, not because the government has told them to, not because a nudger has demanded that they do this, but because they like to, because it's fun. it is fun to be a responsible adult. It's good to be a responsible adult. And again, I think all of us as individuals pursuing our own individual happiness, coming together in groups like this to have each other's back, this is how we win. So please keep fighting, please keep pushing, and don't be nudged. Thank you.